Next guest up today is one of my favorite people from one of my favorite bands ever. That band, of course, would be Van Halen, but he currently plays with Sammy, Hagar, and The Circle as well, Chickenfoot, countless stuff. This guy's given us so much great music over the decades, still pumping it out. He is, of course, Michael Anthony. Good to talk to you, Michael. How are you, brother?
Good, Eddie. How you doing, man?
I'm really good. I'm good, man. A lot of stuff I want to talk to you about, but let's get to the thing you're calling about and the most important thing, and that is the next walk that you have coming up for the Children's Hospital in Los Angeles. I know this is something very near and dear to your heart, and I gave people in my audience the overview about it a little while ago. But for those that weren't listening or don't know the story, can you update everybody on Rex and the Heartbeaters and this walk?
Yeah, well, it's been 5 years now that our grandson was born with CHD, congenital heart disease, and pretty much right after he was born was whisked. We sent him right over to Children's Hospital, Los Angeles. And I'd heard of the hospital. I'm sure a lot of people have, but sometimes don't know exactly, the extent of what they do. And, it's one of the best places in the country that, any kid, they don't turn anybody down. People that are in financial hardship, they'll take any kid in. But anyway, we ended up having to have, he had to have surgeries, and we lost him after 2 weeks, unfortunately. And it kind of took that for me to really get into the hospital and see what they do, and actually hanging out and being there while he was going through all this. I met and talked with a lot of the doctors and nurses and staff, and just found out just the great stuff they do there. But anyway, that same year they were starting it. It was called a Walk and Play LA, where they raise money, which they do all year long. But this is where they have an event where people accept donations and they walk in support of the hospital. And so we put a team together called Rex and the Heartbeaters, as my grandson's name is Rex Michael. And we raised a lot of money for Children's Hospital, and we've been involved with it every year since then. Of course, the last couple of years, because of the pandemic, they haven't been able to actually hold the event. They held it virtually. But this year they're back, and it'll be held June 25th here at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. And, just something that's really dear to my heart these days.
Yeah, well, it's obviously a great cause, and I know a few years ago I had John talking about it a little bit when you had first started doing it, and it sounds like that given that they weren't able to do it in the traditional way the last couple of years, that this year is probably more important than ever to get people back on track with it, right?
Yeah, and being able and doing it live, it's a great morning. It lasts during the morning, and it's over by noon. But there's all kinds of interactive activities, and they'll usually have sports figures from Los Angeles. I think this year they're actually Sugar Ray Leonard is going to be one of the hosts.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So and then they have all kinds of fun stuff that the family can do. That they have because they have support dogs that visit the hospital daily, and so they have like the company that supplies the support dogs, and they're all there, and they got food and drinks, and it's just kind of a cool hang. And then we do the walk, which is fun. It's just a casual walk, like 3 miles, 4 miles, something like that. And all the families, kids, and everybody all participate. It's just a really cool thing to do in the morning.
So for people that are in the LA area listening right now, they can physically come to this and walk with you and these other people. And in order to do that, do you have to make a donation to actually do the walk, or people want to make the donations in advance? I know there's a couple ways you can help. You can do it online if you're not physically in LA, or you can physically come there on the 25th.
Exactly. If you're here in the LA area, you can actually go on to Children's Hospital website, which probably the easiest way is to go on your browser and just type in Walk and Play LA 2022. And it takes you right to you can register. It's like a $25 or $35 registration fee to walk. And, once you're registered, you can raise donations through friends or whoever also. But more importantly, you can join in the walk and join in everything that's going on. if you're not in LA and you want to make a donation, of course, if you go to the same Walk and Play LA, you can find me or our team Rex and the Heartbeaters and make a direct donation through us to the hospital.
Yeah, I'll tweet out and post on my social media your link so people can sponsor you and the link to the hospital. I'm looking at it right now. It's
okay.
CHLA.
I do have a link in my bio. A link in my bio on my Instagram.
Okay.
And which is all lowercase, Mad, lowercase, Anthony, lowercase, Bass Man. Or like you said, you can go straight through the hospital.
Yeah, the website, it looks like, is CHLA, which is Children's Hospital LA.org. And then you'll see the page for Walk and Play and all the information there. Again, that's CHLA.org. And also there is Michael's direct page, which you can sponsor his walk and make a donation if you're not in the LA area and or you just can't attend this. So I'll share all that stuff on my socials later today as well, just so people have a convenient way to get right to it to help out the cause. And it looks like I went and made a small donation the other day myself. It looks like you're off to a good start there. There's some good funds in there.
Yeah. I reach out to everybody, and and it's great. Every dollar helps, and if you actually look a little further, what the hospital actually does, they do great stuff, and it's actually really heartbreaking in one sense to be there at the hospital and see all these children there, but then on the other hand, it's great to see all the care they get, and it's just a great hospital.
Yeah, that is I think it's wonderful that you do this, and we already I'm looking at your personal page right now. You're already over $4,000, so that's a good start. The goal of $5,000, but I think you're easily going to hit that. You got almost a month still left to go, and
I got to start somewhere, Eddie. and then I'll make my own donation to myself too.
Go shake Hagar's cage a little bit. Tell him to give you some of that tequila money.
Yeah, I rattle him up every year. His family he donates every year, which is great, and a lot of it's funny that we talked about like 5 years ago was the first one, and actually I'd gotten a really generous donation way back then from David Lee Roth, I remember
when that happened because I had you on to talk about this, and then I think you even came to me or I came to you and said, "Is that?" We were trying to figure out if it was legit, and it was really from Dave, and you found out it was, right?
Yeah, I didn't really know at that point. At that time, how to get a hold of Dave, and I saw it, and I thought, "Oh no, it can't be." At first, and then I was able to. I forgot how I kind of reached out to where he would get the message, and I said, I just thanked him. I said, we haven't spoken in years and whatever, but if this is you, I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for your donation. And he texted me back. I think it was done through his business manager at that time. But he did text me back, and it was him. So, it was great. Kind of blew my mind that he did that.
Yeah, that is very cool. All right, well, listen, that's a nice transition into all this. You've always been super upfront about everything and where you stand and all the Van Halen stuff and what you know and what you don't know. It's one of the many things I love about you. It's been so crazy in the last month or so with this stuff with Jason Newsted and Satriani and all of them confirming that nothing should have been said, but it was said. And then the biggest thing was people were like, wait a minute, Jason Newsted, Michael Anthony should be playing bass. So what's the latest? And then just yesterday or 2 days ago, Fox News caught Roth. I don't know if you know this. Fox News caught Roth. I don't. There's video of it. Dave was coming out of LAX like a day or two ago, and it was Fox, and they captured him and they interviewed him. And, he said he retired and he blew out all his dates and said he wasn't playing anymore. And then, of course, Dave being Dave is like, well, Rocky had 15 retirements. Why can't I have 3? And I'm coming back. And yes, of course, we should pay tribute to Eddie. So he fired the whole thing up again. From your perspective, were you contacted? What can you tell us, Michael? What can you tell us?
Well, I had done a podcast for a Canadian podcast, I don't know, a month ago, a few weeks ago, and that was brought up and mentioned something, and I guess somebody caught on to that, and that all of a sudden I got dragged into it. But I'll tell you right now. I mean, I haven't spoken to him in a little while, but I have spoken with Alex on occasion, and for the most part, we don't even speak that much about music. More about just family and how we're doing and stuff like that. I know he still pains him a lot as far as Eddie goes, and it will probably for the rest of his life. But we spoke. I spoke with him and Dave last year about a possible something. But Dave just starts going, "Hey, we're gonna boss up," and I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "Okay," and we basically just had kind of a conference call about having a conference call to discuss it, and then that other call didn't happen for whatever reason on their end. I told them that I'd obviously be interested, but and it would be more of like a celebration of the music rather than putting together something and calling it Van Halen, because that just wouldn't be right at this point. But I don't know what kind of sparked all this is because I heard about Jason Newsted, and that's the first that I had even heard about anything like that. And it was kind of interesting because he said he spoke to them about a year ago, and that's about the time I was speaking with him. So I don't know.
Well, what Dave said about all that is
I guess I'd have to call Jason and ask him. I don't know.
Well, what Dave said about it is, and I think Satriani alluded to this, and of course you were in Chickenfoot with Satch, so he should be able to maybe give you some insights for what you don't know. But I mean, what Dave said is he just envisioned there being 2 or 3 musicians at every position to kind of make it like a bunch of different people on different songs. So I don't think that Newsted, if he was involved with, I'm only speculating, would be at the exclusion of you. I think if in Dave's mind, and we all know Dave's mind can work in a lot of ways, it was more about, okay, on guitar, there's Satch, there's maybe John Five, there's this guy, there's that guy, there's Nuno. On bass, there's, of course, Michael, there's Wolf, there's Newsted, whatever. I think that what I got from it, that was the vibe. I don't know if I'm speculating too much, but I think the what I've been able to pick apart, it seemed like it was that.
Well, I was kind of thinking along those lines also, Eddie. But then one thing made me kind of change my mind and make me think, well, Dave's just kind of being Dave, and maybe he's just saying that it would take at least 2 people to be able to duplicate what one person in this band did. And the reason I thought of that was all of a sudden he brought up the name Pink. I don't know if you remember, he was saying that Pink would have to be one of the David Lee Roth characters or singers. And I'm like, that just sounded a little too Dave to me so, but I don't know. At this point, Eddie, I got to tell you, I don't know if anything will ever happen. Because Alex he's really hurting, and him and Ed were so close on all levels, musical levels and personally and whatever. That I don't know. It just seems to me like it might be really hard for Alex to even enter into something that to bring back all those memories. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm the guy that always says never say never.
Yeah.
But,
Alex has been completely quiet since we lost Ed, and he was never really a big press guy anyway, and nobody really knows what. I'm sure, like you said, he's still very much grieving. He's never done anything without his brother, so it's all understandable if he is. And when you talk about different singers, if this thing was to happen, obviously Sammy's got to be there, and I would say you should even bring Gary out for a couple songs. But I don't know how much of this is just Dave-isms or there's really something behind it. But here's the thing, Michael, that I think where the big mistake is being made here is that I don't think they keep whatever's been talked about with this, it's been talked about as a tour. And I don't see that at all right now. I think the first, and it's just little old me talking, but I think the first thing that should be done is like go rent the Forum for a weekend or a night and go in there and bring everybody, all surviving VH members and all these other great musicians that loved Eddie, and do like what they did. And I went to this. There was a Chris Cornell tribute at the Forum, and everybody came out, and the Soundgarden guys were there, and the Audio Slave guys were there, and everybody did sets, and all these different singers that were influenced by Chris came up and sang their favorite song. It was a wonderful night. I think all the money went to a charity and all that. Instead of trying to put something like this out on the road, especially given everyone's schedules, just try to make one great memorial night happen to Eddie. If you did it in LA and it didn't move and it was one weekend, there's not a musician or a host that would say no to coming there and give all the money to his charity. It'd be perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And when I had a phone conversation with these guys, that's kind of like what was being talked about, was not actually doing a tour, but because I really couldn't see, you take something like this on tour, and people are going to think, oh, it's a cash grab. People,
right.
Whatever, and I'd rather, like you said, have something like a memorial type, a thing done at a venue, and there were actually a couple of venues discussed, but do it that way instead of taking it on the road, and make it just a real celebration of the music,
Absolutely. And if you could shoot it, you could record it. I know Eddie had a big charity that he was big into, Mr. Holland's Opus. We just talked about a charity near and dear to you, this children's hospital. I mean, you could take this money. Once you designate something for charity, then it removes all the, well, what's that guy getting paid? What's that guy getting paid? You cover the expenses, you monetize it, you give the money to charity, and you celebrate Eddie for a weekend in LA. And then year or two down the line, if there's a way to put something together to go on the road, great. But I think the thing that everyone's getting hung up on and can't figure out is this idea of a tour. That just doesn't make a lot of sense to me right now.
No. I wouldn't. I actually would not be up for doing a tour right off the bat. I think, like what you said, holding a celebration of Eddie and the music and the whole Van Halen legacy is great. And let's face it, none of us need the money. I don't need the money. I would rather take the money and throw it into charity,
Yeah.
And so we'll see. Eddie, you know what? You'll be one of the first people that I tell.
Well, I'm going to come organize the damn thing, Michael. I can't
well, you
figure out.
You have to MC it. Come on.
That too, but what I can't figure out why this is so hard to do, because it's like Irving Azoff, one of the most powerful people in music, handles Van Halen. You've got all these people that love Van Halen and loved Eddie. You go do it in LA. I mean, it's like right there in front of you. I can't understand why it's so hard to connect the dots on this, but we are talking about Van Halen, right?
Yeah, exactly. The best soap opera in rock and roll. But I think it all really hinges on Alex, and he's got to be the person really that wants to do this and give his blessing to the whole thing, for it to move forward, and I'm not like I said, when we speak, we really don't even speak about doing anything like that at this point, and he's still healing, and if it gets to that point, I'm sure Alex will be the first one that will want to do something like that.
And just for clarity on this, because this came up a few times in the last month or so too, you and Alex and you and Dave are cool, right? I mean, you never had any real beef with Alex. You're okay with Alex, right?
No, not at all. And I mean, I only spoke to Dave that one conversation we had last year, and I couldn't hardly get a word in edgewise. But that's the typical Dave. But I have spoken to Alex on occasion, and it's great. And I mean, we'll speak for like 45 minutes, an hour, and like I said, probably about the first 20 minutes is Alex. Sometimes he'll vent to me a bit about about all the circumstances around how everything happened with Eddie. But we basically just talk about family and then we actually bring up some of the old times on the road to lighten things up a bit.
Yeah, I'm sure. Do you have any relationship with Wolf? Do you ever talk to him?
You know what? I have not spoken to Wolf in a long time, but I do I follow his Instagram stuff, and we kind of communicate through his Instagram because I follow what he's been doing on tour, and actually our band The Circle, we did a gig the other month in Memphis, the Beale Street Festival. That unfortunately, Foo Fighters backed out of that because of rest in peace Taylor Hawkins. You know what happened with him.
Of course.
And the band that played right before us on stage was Dirty Honey. They're one of my favorite LA bands now.
Yeah,
they've been. But I spoke with those guys a little bit about the tour that they did with Wolf's band, and they had nothing but great stuff to say about the tour. But yeah, I kind of communicate. Wolf, he'll reply to me and I'll comment, and we kind of been communicating like that right now. I'm sure at some point I'll speak with him though.
Yeah, his band's real good, and he's off doing his thing. And I really respect the fact that, well, first of all, he's the first person with the last name Van Halen who gets into it on social media and will go right back at people and isn't shy about expressing himself. And I've had him on a few times now since he's put this record out, which is real good. And I've seen him play live, and I respect the fact that he's really out there doing his own thing. He doesn't play one note of Van Halen. He's really building it up from the ground up about his own music. And I think that's really admirable. He's not looking to go out there and do a Van Halen tribute show with his own band. Yeah. And his band's good. His music's good.
Yeah, exactly. And, and that's the right thing to do too, and
yeah.
I got to give him props too, because he's going out and doing his own thing. And, one thing that was discussed that, if there was a Van Halen thing that happened, he might not even be a part of it,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure in some sense he would be, but, like you said, I've heard him say on tour that he won't play one note of, the music because that's, he wants to do his own thing.
Right. Well, we'll see, man. I mean, something should happen, and I think trying to do it as a weekend or even a one show, much like the Cornell thing at the Forum, I mean, that is just the no-brainer. Make it a charity event. It takes all the paydays off the table, and it could be a wonderful night to celebrate and remember the incredible music and of course Eddie as well. Let me ask you this about Hagar. So you out there with the Circle, I know Sammy's working as hard as ever. You are as well. The band's killer. You're playing all over. And I know you've made this new record with Dave Cobb that Sammy recently came out and said he thinks is the best record he ever made. That's obviously saying a lot. Tell me about the stuff coming up with Sammy. What's on the table?
Every record you make is the best record you make. You don't put on an album and say, well, this one isn't quite as good as the last album I did, but, But I can't say this. I feel personally that, working with Dave Cobb, he's the most amazing producer, probably besides Ted Templeman, because he was the first producer I ever worked with, and we learned light years of stuff with him. Dave Cobb's probably one of the best producers I've personally ever worked with. He was involved in everything. He's out there playing guitar with us. We wrote stuff in the studio, and I think this is some of the best. I know vocally, it's some of the best harmony stuff I've done since Van Halen. I'm not saying that lightly. It's we wanted to on some of the stuff have a real Van Halen sound to the backgrounds, which I am part of that. And there are harmonies on here where I sing every vocal part, which I've really never done, maybe once or twice in my career, and I have to say it sounds pretty damn good.
Yeah,
but
speaking,
but the music is great. It's a great album.
Speaking of you singing, so I went to one of the Vegas shows, and I saw you recently in Vegas at the Strat. And that was the first time I saw you at that one. The one I was at, you came out front and sang lead on Running with the Devil. That was awesome.
Yeah, well, I can tell you this, Eddie, that when we hit the road this month, there's going to be a couple more surprises. I'm going to be singing some other VH stuff, early stuff. I'm digging back into the catalog. Sammy's giving me a little spotlight on the lead vocal, so I figured why not.
Well, that's awesome. The band's awesome. And I said to Sammy a couple times recently, I said, look, unfortunately, the only place to hear Van Halen right now is the circle, and it's two guys from Van Halen and Sammy and yourself. So I said, why not spike a little bit more of it in, whether it's the Roth era stuff or his era? And the fact that he gives him a blow and he walks off and you get to do that, I mean, I thought it was great. I thought it was killer, and you sounded great singing it.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I'm having a great time, and I won't mention any songs, but we're digging back on a few. I've been talking with Jason and Vic. And while we're out on this summer run, we're taking out George Thorogood. We're gonna hit a couple of the other old classics. Maybe dig back a little bit more like deep cut stuff, and not just you ain't talking about love and stuff that we would normally do.
Oh, I'm all about that. A little Light Up the Sky, a little DOA, a little Romeo Delight. Come on, Michael.
You don't know. You never know, Eddie. You never know.
I'll be there bugging you.
I leave a lot of it up to Vic also. Because I don't want him. We don't want him playing the Eddie stuff note for note. I want him to feel comfortable with what he's playing and whatever. So I ask those guys. I say, what do you guys feel comfortable playing? What do you guys like? Because I obviously like it all. So you might hear some stuff we haven't heard in a while.
Well, that's a be a great way to keep it alive. I know me and all the other fans would absolutely love that. And I'm going to be seeing you guys soon. It's not a public thing, but I don't know if you even heard about it yet, but there's a private thing that we're all going to be doing in Texas coming up in July, I think. So looking forward to seeing you at that. And I want to do something with you. I mentioned this to you on email. We're going to bring back I was doing this show from the patio at the Rainbow with a live audience, and schedule permitting, I would love to have you out there with me for an hour, giving us some Sunset Strip stories from the early days. That would be awesome if you can do that.
I got some good ones too, Eddie.
Oh, I know you do. We'd do it right in the shadow of.
Yeah. I'd love to come out and chat about. I love talk. That's one of the things I tell you when I'm talking with Alex. I mean, we reminisce about like the early days, and we ended up just laughing our asses off.
Yeah.
It was because that's when it truly was fun. We were hardworking, but it was fun, and it was some crazy stuff going on back then.
Well, if we do the Rainbow thing, Alex is invited too. If you want to invite him, might be a good one.
Give him a shout out. I could reach out and see.
Oh man, that would be the best.
Al. Al, he's so kind of mild mannered. He'd probably go, "Oh no, we didn't do that. No, I didn't do that."
Those walls in the Rainbow talk, Michael. Those walls talk, man.
Alex was the craziest guy in the band out there in the early days. I learned all my good stuff from him.
I'm sure. Last thing, the hot sauce. How's it going? What's the latest?
The hot sauce. Did you get your package yet, Eddie?
Not yet.
Package. Okay,
not yet.
You'll be getting it. I always got to make sure that you got enough hot sauce.
I appreciate it.
I'm having fun with it. We got a restaurant chain in the South called Wild Wing Cafe that we're heavily connected up with, and they're using my barbecue sauces and mustard, and just getting it out there and having fun doing it. I'm not in it as seriously as Sammy is with the alcohol. I don't want to. I'm not planning on becoming a millionaire making hot sauce, but it's just a fun thing for me to do, and while I can still eat it too.
Yeah, I didn't know you had barbecue. I've got the hot, the super hot, and the mustard. I didn't know you had a barbecue now as well. Yeah,
you're gonna get the barbecue also.
Wow, it's good stuff. Matt Anthony Cafe. You got to check it out. Seriously, it's even if it wasn't Michael's name on it, it's just damn good. I've always been a fan. You know that. It's real good stuff.
Yeah, thanks. You'll be getting your package soon, Ed.
I appreciate it, man. Well, listen, great to talk to you. And again, most importantly in this conversation, help out this great charity that Michael has going for the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. Walk and Play LA, happening June 25th at the LA Coliseum. And again, you can go to the website to learn more.
Eddie, you got zillions of listeners. If all you out there just donate $5, it would just mean the world to the hospital and to me. Well,
last time some of my listeners came up with even way bigger donations, but anything helps. That's the bottom line. Anything helps, and it's chla.org. And in the next few minutes on my Twitter and on my Facebook, because you can't put links on Instagram, but on those two, I will put a direct link to Michael's page so that you guys can just click on it. And it's so easy to make the donation. There's all these boxes there, $25, whatever, and you'll feel great about it. And it's for great, I mean, what's better than helping out kids that have to be in the hospital? So it's great stuff you're doing, bud. And I wish you all the luck with the walk. I hope everybody donates and helps out big time.
Thanks a lot, Eddie. I really appreciate it. And can't wait to see everybody out there this summer.
See you this summer, and I'll be in touch, man. Hopefully we can put this rainbow thing together. I'd love to do that with you.
Sounds good, Eddie. I'd love to come out and, you feed me a couple of shots out there, and boy, the stories will start coming out.
That's easy. That's easy in that environment. That's very easy to do. All right, man. Best to your family, Michael. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, take care, Eddie.
See you, man.
Okay, bye.
Bye. There he goes. The best. Michael Anthony, everybody, checking in with us here on Trunk Nation. And, again, he's the most real guy you're ever going to meet. Just so happens to be an original member of one of the biggest bands in rock history. It's incredible. The best. And great work he's doing for this charity. Really is. During the commercial break, I'm going to try right now to tweet out the link so you can go right to his page if you'd like to make a donation for this. And again, it's a great cause, the LA Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, actually. All right, let's do a break. When we come back, we'll swing over to the phones. Man, there's a lot to pick apart there from what Michael said. I mean, he was super forthcoming as far as the Van Halen stuff is concerned. And there's another log on the fire to figure out what happens and where this all goes.